Hey friends, this is Dolynny TV. Glad to have you aboard here this afternoon, this morning. Whenever you get a chance to tune in as the Edmonton Oilers, well, things are looking on the up and up following an overtime win over top of the Carolina Hurricanes. Not only is Zach Hyman back, but things maybe not as worse as they seem. So we'll discuss that and much, much more here in today's edition. Of course, there is also a Condors update to begin today's program, so stay tuned for that. If you're new to the channel, friends, right now I want to encourage you to consider hitting that subscribe button. Closing in, we're about just about 1750 or somewhere there away from 20,000 subscribers, so would appreciate you doing that if you got time and you want to stick around for a little while. All right, what do we know first? The Condors update. The Condors are having a season much like the Oilers, but a little bit more exciting in terms of, going out there and having guys that we're expecting to perform. Quinn Hudson now tied for third in AHL rookie scoring. He's had himself a beautiful season and a beautiful game last night against Coachella Valley, and a lot of this does come out of the Coachella Valley game. Marhala has 13 in 14 games. Yarventi 10 in 10. Yarventi missed a few games earlier on in the year. You got Szymanski up to 7 in 14 games, so Josh Szymanski continues to adjust to the North American game, and he's looking good doing it, right? I mean, he's playing along the top players on the team night in, night out, so hopefully that continues to add up there. And of course, our man Ike Howard, who went down last night for his first game in the AHL, has 2 assists in his first game, and by golly, did that whole top line look good doing it. Akey, who got the promotion from Fort Wayne at the same time Howard got sent down from the Oilers, comes in and has a strong first game also with an assist. So these all are encouraging developments for the Oilers, that's for sure. That according to Bruce Kurlock, and of course according to anyone that has any eyes to look at just the developmental situation for the Oilers, in which we don't have a lot of prospects. So we got to kind of get that going. All right, let's get this wrapped up here and see what we can do. All right, to the next slide, and then there's some more overall discussion we're going to have. As the standings as of November 16th in the Pacific Division before things get going this morning, while color me shocked, the Oilers are only 2 points out of first place in the Pacific. Yes, they've played one more game than first place Los Angeles. Los Angeles is also on a 4-game heater right now, so make it that way you will. And for the Oilers, I guess really, we've lost some games in close quarters, 1-goal games, stuff like that, but we've been able to drag some games to overtime, so at least we're getting those points. And despite a -7 goal differential, which really nobody ahead of us even has less than 2, we're just battling our way to wins and finding a way to scratch and claw and win. And when we lose, we're losing by multiple goals. We've discussed that. We've discussed the team not helping Stuart Skinner. We've discussed Stuart Skinner not helping Stuart Skinner. And we've discussed Calvin Pickard having a terrible season. So all that on the table, no matter how you want to put it together. I think the idea right now is, as it was put to me last night, it's the little details for the Oilers that continue to cost them goals game in, game out. And if you fix those, which, you know what, Zach Hyman's going to fix a lot of those, things are going to look all right. So we move forward. I want to go back to the Condors a little bit last night, not on that slide from Bruce Kurlock, but in an additional slide is Connor Clattenburg, who, my goodness, he is having himself an unreal season down there, putting up a few points at a time, but also going out there and beating up anybody who challenges him. And I think as well, in a game as critical as the Coachella Valley one is every single time we face them down there in the AHL, I think Connor Clattenburg doing a little bit of intimidating running around and stuff like that ends up being very, very pivotal for the Edmonton Oilers. So, you know what, Connor Clattenburg, stay tuned. He's going to be up here sooner rather than later, and I guarantee that. I almost, you know what, he's a little bit older of a guy. I have a feeling. He might be up here at some point this season just as a reward for bad behavior in the AHL, if that makes sense. So I want to move forward to a little bit more of the discussion here today, which is where we're currently sitting at. You see Stu's numbers elevate a little bit in both goals against average, but also the save percentage after what was a little bit of a solid game from Stuart Skinner last night. I don't think we can downplay that more than that. Stuart Skinner comes in with a 30-plus save effort last night in a game which Carolina just turned the tide with about 8, 7, 6, 5 minutes left to go in the first period, and they dominated for the next 25 plus minutes, and it was looking really scary. It was 2-2. The Oilers were barely holding on and somehow found a way to win. But you see an .891 save percentage there for Stu. That's up 4 points over the entry last night. So end of the day is if he can keep building, keep having multiple good nights where he's, in that 910, 915 save percentage realm, it's going to start changing that save percentage quite dandy. And everybody will click, well, why are you so concerned about that? It's about league average. Well, league average is getting hauled down by a guy like Calvin Pickard, who's at an .830. That's why I'm so concerned. So that's kind of where we're at. It's the goaltending is what it is. The forwards up front, Connor McDavid on pace for an absolutely incredible year this year, scoring 1.33 points per game. Well, what does that equate out to? Let me do the quick math. How about another 110-point season for Connor McDavid? And that's, not saying he can't go find something else out there that does a little bit more damage. You see now that Nuge has missed several games, the plus minuses on this team are starting to get fixed game by game. Yes, I understand we're still losing some games. Yes, I understand we're not dominating near as much as we could. Again, the -7 goal differential will make up for a lot of that right now. But you see Connor McDavid scratching back to even. Not that plus minus is a great stat to use, but you kind of get the argument here is just being able to look at somebody else's that's on the top line and then compare to somebody that is on the top line over the last 4 games. There are small, little, subtle improvements in the Oilers game. And seeing, of course, Zach Hyman back in the lineup last night is kind of a beacon of hope that things are going to improve substantially here for the Oilers, specifically in the hit department, specifically in the turnover department and specifically in also the playmaking. Because, that Connor McDavid goal that we saw that made it, interesting late in that game. Yeah, it was great. Zach Hyman took a hit, made a play, pass from Leon Draisaitl over to Connor McDavid. It was magic. We've seen it 1.5 million times already. And you see Evan Bouchard's starting to climb out of his bad situation there. He's up to 16 points on the year. So again, that whole fiasco has calmed down as Evan starts scoring points. Jack Roslovic continues to be an absolute impact get for the Oilers. 14 points in 18 games. Jake Wallman, an impact addition on the blue line as well. He's up to 20 minutes and 46 seconds average time on ice, outpacing Matthias Ekholm, as I said would happen here soon enough. And Vasily Podkolzin kind of rounding out the top scorers here for us alongside Matthias Ekholm and Darnell Nurse. So Darnell Nurse with the unofficial assist on the opening goal by Jack Roslovic last night, throwing it all the way, not even throwing it, intently putting it on net from the D zone on Freddie Anderson, getting the bounce off his stick onto the tape of Jack Roslovic and scoring the goal last night. It was a thing of beauty. But for the Oilers, I think there are some positive signs of life here. Again, the Zach Hyman debut could have been a lot worse. A, you could have lost. B, he could have got re-injured or something. And C, he could have not been as impactful as he was for the Oilers last night. And to see Zach Hyman doing what he's doing, he's a guy that drags a lot of people into the fight, just puts that extra juice on the bench that everybody feeds off of. So looking forward to seeing what the Oilers can do now that Zach Hyman's back. I was not kidding last night when I said the season started last night. And of course, what I want to go back to is you're starting the season 2 points back of the Pacific Division lead. That's not bad. Basically, you lost your first game of the season and everybody else won their first one. That's how I'm looking at it. Again, you'd say, well, it's silly to say that the Oilers started their season tonight. How does that even factor? Well, because Zach Hyman's back and the Oilers, even despite losing Nugent Hopkins for the short term here, are a much more complete team that's going to be able to take care of details, take care of the situation a lot better. And now we look forward to seeing what happens here as the Oilers march through this road trip already 2-1 on it.